having trouble just making the monthly minimums? We can help. We're Credit Card Relief. We've helped thousands of people become debt-free in months instead of years, all while saving thousands of dollars and without risking your family home. No, this isn't bankruptcy. It isn't one of those credit counseling deals or a high-interest consolidation loan. We're Credit Card Relief. We've been helping people just like you for nearly a decade. We're an attorney-driven program with an outstanding record of performance and client satisfaction. If you're serious about getting out of debt, call Credit Card Relief right now. Don't wait for the collection calls to start. The consultation is free, and the relief is real.
Call Credit Card Relief at 866-994-4646. That's 866-994-4646. Call now, 866-994-4646.
Everybody's talking at me.
My guest, Thomas E. Woods, Jr., author, Nullification. And, you know, Thomas, how perfect timing we have here, because just today in Kagan's hearings, I don't know if you heard what she said, but she says when it was talking about the Constitution. The Constitution, Kagan says, quote, just says what you're supposed to do and how things are supposed to work, but it's open to change. To me, those are very scary words. And as you mentioned in this book, the Constitution has been distorted to justify the federal government's power grabs, but through nullification, we can hopefully change it all. Now, the big thing, the Supreme Court, you're saying they shouldn't have anything to do with this, right?
Well, the Supreme Court can, I mean, Jefferson's view is the Supreme Court was largely an advisory body, because he did not trust giving, 9 people or however many people there were at that time a monopoly on constitutional interpretation. I mean, then we were just governed by 9 people. No one gets to elect. So he didn't like that idea. But what's important here is that, yes, that's right, that the federal courts are themselves one of the contending parties. If there's a dispute between the federal government and the states, it can't be decided by a federal court. It would be like if you and me, if you and I are having a dispute, I don't refer it to my mother. I mean, you would never accept that. So, therefore, according to Jefferson, there is no impartial umpire between the states and the federal government. So, therefore, in the last resort, it devolves upon the states themselves and the people to arbitrate questions of the Constitution. Now, when she says that the Constitution is open to change, well, there's a very technical sense in which that's correct. If the people choose to change it, they have the ability to do that in the Constitution, to amend it. But that's not what she means. She means people like her can change it without consulting anybody, and that's what they do for a living. That's what they're trained by law schools to do, is to change it in light of whatever they would like it to be or they wish it would be. But the thing is, the people never voted to live under that. They voted to live under the Constitution we have. But, of course, we have to suffer the indignity of hearing inanities by people like Kagan, constantly, which is why I tried to keep the TV off during this whole proceeding. I mean, if I know something is going to make my blood boil, I try to avoid it.
There you go. Now, the thing is, if we, the little people, are upset, and we don't want health care, and we don't want the stimulus, and we don't want the bailouts, and we don't want cap and trade, then how do we pull the lever to start nullification?
Right. Well, for some of these, I mean, nullification is not applicable to every single sort of thing the federal government does. So it's not the only arrow in our quiver. But I would recommend, and forgive me, I've done so much of this today, I can't remember if I mentioned it or not. There's an excellent website. I'm not connected with it.
No, you didn't, so go ahead and mention it.
10thamendmentcenter.com. Very good website, 10thamendmentcenter.com. They monitor all these nullification efforts, and they've got a
now, let me ask you real quick, is that the number 10, or do you spell it out?
Yeah, T-E-N-T-H. You spell it out, 10thamendmentcenter.com. And there they've got a very vibrant community of commenters on the various articles and blog entries where people are strategizing about, well, how would we do this? It hasn't been done in a long time. What would the steps be? I personally favor starting with something where there's a broad consensus among people in a lot of the states that this is a bad thing. Like, don't start with something that's really super contentious. Take something like this thing that nobody likes, the No Child Left Behind Act. It's a huge bureaucratic oversight of education. I mean, the conservatives don't like it, libertarians don't like it, and even, amazingly, even the teachers' unions don't like it. I mean, when's this going to happen again? That the conservatives, I mean, for different reasons, but so in other words, there are a lot of influential people who don't like that. So I would start there. I'd say, here's something nobody likes. So what if 15 states said, well, you know what, starting tomorrow, we're not doing this anymore. This is ruining our schools, so we're just not going to do it. What I think would happen is what happened on the medical marijuana issue, is that the federal government hemmed and hawed, and the Justice Department and the Supreme Court, and they all said you can't do it. But we've got 14 states doing it anyway, and life goes on. So, in other words, you can present the federal government with a fait accompli. Say, look, we're not doing it, and you know you're. So, in other words, let's come to some kind of an agreement because we're not going to do it. You want us to. Let's figure something out.
Okay. And before we run out of time, once again, the website for the 10th Amendment.
Yeah, 10thamendmentcenter.com, and then my own site, tomwoods.com, has a lot of links related to all these subjects. But let's all get involved. We got nothing to lose, right?
Absolutely. So it's 10th Amendment Center, all one word, .com.
Right.
And also you can go to thomasewoods.com.
Right, and the easier way to get there is just tomwoods.com.
Tomwoods.com, all right. And they can get the book there, too?
Yes, and a free chapter and lots of free stuff. If you don't want to buy the book, you can watch videos about it. You get almost as much information.
Fantastic. Hey, thank you very much for the time you gave me, and look forward to our next visit.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thomas E. Woods, Jr. The name of the book is Nullification. Alan Wall, BDare.com. He's coming up next.
Listen carefully to this message. If you are about to buy hardwood flooring, you're going to pay too much. Unless, of course, you buy from us. We're lumber liquidators, and no one, including